Hi guys, it's me, Murdercore. I'm here with Toby One, the greatest commentator. Hey Toby, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Had a nice relaxing start to the day and only had to cast one game today, so it's a nice easy day.
It's a nice easy day. Do you enjoy your stay here so far?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love coming to Romania. This is now my 6th or 7th trip, I think. So yeah, I'm very used to Romania.
The previous trips were they again for commentating some tournaments?
Yeah, I was here for the group stages, the qualifiers for the CCS, and I also was here for the last DreamHack Bucharest where we had the D2CL finals.
Yeah, I was actually here. It was a great finals last year between Alliance and Cloud9, if I remember correctly.
No, Navi and someone else.
And Alliance. Should have been Alliance. I am pretty sure that Alliance won.
I'm trying to remember the teams that were there. It was Team Tinker, it was Team Empire, it was Navi and +1. But yeah, I don't remember Alliance.
Should be Alliance because I have pictures with Water. So
okay. Yeah. And it must have been Alliance.
Yeah, and I'm Alliance fanboy, so yeah.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. There is a funny story, by the way. He almost broke his leg.
Yeah, I heard.
It's funny. Now it's funny, but it wasn't before. So anyway, forget this. You're here this time about casting Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Yep.
Do you find any difference in the perception of the people around?
Perception of the people? Well, it is kind of funny. The crowd from CSGO is so much more involved in the personalities of the CSGO scene. They're coming up. They're always looking for the signatures. Yeah, that happens in Dota, but the CSGO personalities really interact heavily with them. At the end of every game, even halfway through the game when we had a pause, they would come down, they would sign and signatures and do all that kind of jazz, and you just never see that from a Dota 2 team. I feel like the CSGO community is a lot more... Or at least I wouldn't say they're open. I think the players are actually more open in CSGO.
I have heard that the CSGO in general, the community, is a bit more negative, more cancerous. If I can say this, they're flaming a lot and stuff like this. Is it true? Because I'm not really...
I don't think it's more than any other community, really. And especially if you're comparing it to Dota. Yeah. It's pretty much the same.
Everybody's ready with the pitchforks.
It's not even the pitchforks. It's just... the CSGO community, yeah, they're going to be rough with you, but I mean, it's not even a pitchfork hunt. What they're rough at you about is you got to do something right, and if you don't do it right, they'll beat the crap out of you. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. It's a different type of flame. It's more of you can learn more from their flame.
Somehow productive flaming.
Yeah, yes.
No, don't.
If we could say that, yeah, it's more productive flaming.
Yeah. It's please don't go in front of the camera. It's we have chosen. It's actually the best spot because of the lightning.
Yeah.
But people tend to go in front of the camera here. Thank you. We have some assistance from the crowd.
Yeah.
So, how do you enjoy the tournament so far? Because I didn't have a chance to watch the CS:GO tournament.
You've been watching the Dota?
Yeah, I get a couple of games from the.
The CS:GO event's been pretty awesome. It's been a couple of surprise losses. It's been some very long days, some crazy games.
Lost to Fnatic, I think.
Yes, they lost to Fnatic last night, but it was also them being really just exhausted and drained because they had a 69-round map on day number 1. So that was pretty brutal for them. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been nice and dynamic. I've really enjoyed it.
A lot of people, I'm sure that a lot of people will be questioning if you're quitting Dota casting.
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Just people, be assured he's not quitting Dota. He will continue casting Dota.
Yeah. I just want to have a little bit of diversity in my casting. Yeah. You do Dota non-stop for 5-6 years and not much else. It can get a little bit repetitive. And while Dota is amazing, I was an FPS caster at the start, and CSGO came up, and it looked like a really good chance to start casting FPSs again. So it was just a good opportunity.
Yeah, just like you mentioned in your post.
Yeah.
If I guess that most of you that are watching this interview have read the post you made, so you'll be aware. He's not quitting. Be happy. What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future?
For the near future, like the next 2 months maybe.
For the next 2 months? just worked through the events. Obviously, everything's building up to TI right now, but we've got huge things like ESL 1 Frankfurt, we've got X Games with MLG coming up, D2CL LAN finals. I'm building a whole new studio.
I have seen the videos from the new studio.
Yeah,
it looks really promising.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and we, for a year and a half in the making, it's everything we were hoping it was going to be, and then we've still got a little bit more to go. So we'll start turning systems on one by one.
Nice. We are keeping our fingers crossed that you're going to finish the studio soon, and we're going to see content from there.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, guys, promise 2 weeks.
Has to be 2 weeks.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah,
we have heard this before.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So you mentioned a few tournaments that are mostly Dota related. Do you have any plans for the near future for casting another Counter-Strike tournament?
Nothing at the moment. I hope to work with the PGL guys again, but we have to discuss the next season. And I know I got approached by the Facer guys to come and cast with them, like on a weekend, just some of their normal season. So I just got to find time in my schedule to make it happen, and that's the hardest thing. Like juggling it all, and then also making sure I've got time to.
Okay, smooth. He doesn't. It's fine.
I need time to properly prepare for CS:GO events too, because you basically have to do another a flash learn 1 week beforehand.
Because you're switching games after all. It's not like you cast, let's say, League of Legends and then Dota. The principle is the same. It's MOBA. I mean.
Sort of. Sort of.
Yeah. I mean. You have 3 lanes and sort of the same roles.
Let's not even try and compare.
Yeah. I'm not comparing them. I'm not comparing them by any means, but I mean that the FPS is a whole different game. Like everything is different, so you pretty much have to learn everything all over again. You're a quick learner. I heard from your casting, so everything seems to go pretty smooth.
Yeah.
At least on the camera. I don't know how much time you're spending preparing and learning.
A lot of time. I'm not a quick learner anymore. Used to be, not anymore.
Okay. Did you have a chance to get a glimpse of the Dota 2 tournament?
I got a couple of games, but most of it I'm going to have to watch on VODs later on.
Yeah, have you seen the bracket?
Yeah, I saw the bracket.
You saw any surprises, or everything was expected for you?
I don't think anyone's going to say, well, I expected Secret to get knocked out in the first round. But at the same time, I did catch one of their games, and they got outdrafted and they got outplayed. It was actually quite bad. I don't think it's any surprise that IG as well as VG Gaming are in the grand final at all. I was actually not expecting Cloud9 to get as far as they did, especially after what happened to them during their first game up against Team Tinker, which they didn't really deserve to win that game. So it was, I don't think you can say that there was that many upsets. I think Secret's going to be the biggest one, and that's it.
That's it, yeah.
Alliance, I knew they were going to do well. With Mad, they're a whole new team.
They're a whole new team. They performed well, but this tournament I feel like they didn't perform as they could.
They did the best considering what's been happening to them of late. Like most people would expect them to arrive and be knocked out in the first round next to London Conspiracy.
Yes.
And that was probably a month or two ago would be your perspective of that. But the perspective now, they needed to just push forward a little bit. They didn't need a win here. What they just needed was some successful games, and they got that.
Yes, they got it.
Yeah, and that's more important for them as a team to help build their chemistry on LAN together. While the others might have chemistry, you then got to fit in a whole new shot caller as well as captain drafter, that whole shebang. I know Matt says though Loader is the captain, but they need to find their synergy on a LAN situation and not just the online. Yeah,
and in this case, they have switched the idea of the team for Swedish only, so they have met in the team now that obviously doesn't speak Swedish, so they're forced to speak English, which is not really a problem.
Not a problem. It's not a problem at all. They all speak really good English anyway. So
I have heard, by the way, from the players that there are some problems on the one tournaments that most people don't realize, and it's this, that your microphone catches the sound from the
from the casters,
from the speakers, from the casters, and it's like your teammates catch the sound from the casters too, and you hear like 5-6 times casters repeatedly. It's a mess. It's hard to communicate.
I haven't heard about the loopback. I haven't heard that kind of problem, but I have heard the major problem which comes from that is the fact that the players can hear what the commentators are saying.
Yeah.
And this is never a good situation because, you're expected to land. There's some things that go against it. The crowd's all getting excited about something. As a player, that should be flagging to you that something is up. And that's something you accept at a LAN final. Like you hear like the pounding of the crowd. Like they're giving you a signal without holding up a sign saying they're doing Roshan. But you expect this at a LAN final. What you don't expect is to have a very clear signal of what the commentator says, and that's something which organisers is difficult to get around because you got a microphone sticking up in the air which is going to pick up all the sound which is there, so you have to be really careful with how you run the audio. You got to look towards like booths, soundproof boothing, but you don't want to look too far towards that because if you start putting people in boxes, you have the same situation as TI where you've got this small little window where people can see the players. And then you start removing the purpose of a LAN. The purpose of a LAN is for people to come and see their players play.
To get in touch with them, to get personal.
Don't lock them away. Like one team, I'm not going to mention names, like they said at ESL 1 Frankfurt, they didn't want to play in a room somewhere inside the stadium. They didn't even want to play out in the main stage. They just said, have the crowd there, and we'll play so we can't hear, and we don't want the enemy to hear either, what's going on. So just put us in isolated rooms so no one can hear anything. And you've just completely removed the purpose of coming to a local event beyond having a LAN network.
Just stay at home and play from there. In this case,
yeah, basically, and that's that whole point of the games. You want them to be good, and you want them to be as fair as possible. But you also have to understand that you're there to entertain the crowd, not just to win your game.
Yeah, of course.
That's a big thing.
Does this problem exist in Counter-Strike as well?
It does here and there. It's more of just a normal tech issue for events, but in Counter-Strike it doesn't matter as much unless you're calling out exact positions, because you're not going to help anybody else out then. If it's not the exact position and the player listens to it, then the only thing which helps is he's flanking or he's coming from behind, then a player will look behind them. But everything else, it's not like Dota where they just planted a ward on bottom rune. That's there for a good 8 minutes now. I'll walk down there and de-ward it at some point.
Instantly.
You can abuse that a lot more in Dota 2 than you can CS. CS is a game of 5 seconds.
Some players are telling that this is actually not helping them to play the game better. Listening to the commentators, seeing where the other team planted wards, doing corrosion and stuff like this, but it's interfering with their communication. It is interrupting their game. So in a way, it's like double-edged sword. You can use it in your advantage, but also it can be a disadvantage.
Yeah, well, the commentator could also be talking about some hypothetical situation that you listen into.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you just say the words rapier and gyrocop, just oh crap, he's already got a rapier, and you pull back. At the end of the day, the teams just still have to play their game when they come to a LAN event, and that's where a lot of teams you find a lot better on LANs because they can deal with the outside pressures, they can deal with everything which is happening around them a hell of a lot better, and then they win, while teams which are normally based online, they just can't function as well. So it's definitely a skill you learn.
Yeah. So, okay, I want to talk a little bit about the international.
Okay.
Because we did an interview earlier today, we spoke about this, but I want to talk to you about the international. Obviously, TI4 was a little bit disappointing for the final, of course. The whole event was well organized, it was well planned. There were some issues, like some of the teams got there, didn't play on the main stage, stuff like this. We all know it. We all know what happened there. TI3, on the other hand, of course, one of the greatest games ever. On the final, Game 5 was insane. The tournament was as well organized and stuff like this. But what do you expect for TI5? What do you think that Valve are going to pick from both tournaments? And
I have no idea, man. TI5 is... and Valve will normally update things bit by bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still organising it, and they've got still a lot to learn about organising tournaments. I know this is now the 5th series that they're going through TI, and it's been getting better and better with every time. But yeah, there's still a lot to learn from. TI4 was nowhere near perfect. You should also look when you're trying to evaluate the tournament, not at the games that were played, but how they were received and how the viewers could watch them. Because that's where, as an organizer, you've got to improve. Yeah, TI4 people will be like, oh, it was a disappointment, but that's only because of the end game. There was actually fantastic group stage games that came out, which very few are able to remember because they weren't really highlighted enough. So yeah, Valve's
it's normal. It's normal.
Yeah,
everybody's hyped for the final. Everybody's waiting for the final. Even if you see a great game, you're like, oh, this was great. I can't wait for the final. It will be even better. And when the final is nowhere near good, even I don't want to say better than the game. It's just a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the major system that got introduced to us by Valve?
I'm interested to see the details. Until the details come out, we can't really comment about it. But I'm hoping that Valve start talking to people about it.
Please, Volvo, hear us.
It's not even like the community they need to talk to. It's the organisers they need to talk to, because they've expected, they want 3 majors to happen throughout the year, but they didn't tell any organiser about this before it happened. So they're
like, we are going to do 3 majors, and the organisers
it's just expecting that they're going to do it.
Yeah. Well, okay, I don't want to keep you anymore. Thank you for the interview.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy your stay here, the remaining of it. Thank you for this again, and see you soon, I guess.
Thanks.